Good afternoon. Welcome to the noon briefing. This morning, the Secretary General briefed the General Assembly on his priorities for the year. He identified 4 looming threats that can endanger progress and jeopardize our future: the highest global strategic tensions in years, the climate crisis, global mistrust, and the downsides of new technologies. The Secretary General said that these 4 21st century challenges require 21st century solutions. First, he stressed the role of prevention, mediation, and peacekeeping to address geopolitical tensions. Second, he called on the main emitters to lead the way and step up ahead of COP26 in Glasgow. Third, to address global mistrust, the Secretary General said that countries must build a fair globalization, and he highlighted the importance of women fully participating in all aspects of society, including decision-making. Finally, he said that we must steer technology for positive change and promote global digital cooperation, noting that the UN is a tailor-made platform for governments, business, and civil society to come together to build agile and flexible regulatory frameworks. The Secretary General also launched the Decade of Action for the Sustainable Development Goals and stressed that this was the time to listen to people and urgently act for a better future for all. And just as a reminder, as we told you yesterday, the Secretary General will take part in this year's World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. Tomorrow afternoon, he will deliver a special address on the state of the world. You can watch that live online. And on Friday, the Secretary General will take part in a UN 75 event in which he will ask young global shapers for their solutions to global challenges. This event will be live streamed, and we'll share those details with you as soon as we get them. The Secretary General will also attend the launch of a global compact scheme to bolster ambition to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, and he will also hold bilateral meetings with world leaders on the margins of the World Economic Forum. Turning to Syria, we remain deeply concerned about the safety of more than 3 million civilians in Idlib and the surrounding areas in the northwest amid growing hostilities over the past week. Airstrikes and shelling reportedly continue to affect communities in western Aleppo and various parts of southern Idlib and northern Hama, with dozens of civilian casualties reported in recent days, including many women and children. According to the UN Refugee Agency, more than 1,500 civilians in northwest Syria have been killed since April, including more than 430 children and 290 women. An estimated 358,000 people have been displaced in Idlib over the last 2 months alone. The UN continues to urge all parties and those with influence over them to ensure the protection of civilians and civilian infrastructure in line with their obligations under international humanitarian law. And in a statement yesterday evening, the Secretary General welcomed the announcement of the formation of a new government in Lebanon. He looks forward to working with Prime Minister Hassan Diab and the incoming Council of Ministers, including in support of Lebanon's reform agenda and to address the pressing needs of its people. The Secretary General reiterated the United Nations commitment to support Lebanon's strengthening of its sovereignty, stability, and political independence. That full statement is available online. The Secretary General spoke to you yesterday afternoon after he briefed the Security Council in closed consultations on Libya. He called the Berlin conference, held on Sunday, a major step, but he also stressed that it was just the beginning. The Secretary General noted that there is a truce, but he underscored the need to move to a ceasefire and then to a real political process. For that, the Secretary General said, the pressure of the international community, including the Security Council, is essential. That transcript is online. Protecting civilians in the Democratic Republic of the Congo's Beni territory requires a comprehensive response involving all components of the peacekeeping mission, the UN country team, as well as external partners. That is the main conclusion of an independent assessment led by Lieutenant General Carlos Alberto dos Santos Cruz and requested by the Department of Peace Operations to evaluate MONUSCO's response to the high number of attacks against civilians and Ebola response workers in eastern DRC. Beyond improved coordination related to military operations, the assessment recommended the development of a comprehensive joint strategy between the government and the peacekeeping mission, including at the political level, to address insecurity in the Beni area. The Department of Peace Operations is developing an action plan to implement the key recommendations of the assessment. There are more details in a note that we shared with you yesterday. On the Central African Republic, the humanitarian situation there has continued to deteriorate due to conflict and recent natural disasters that have also affected the capital, Bangui. The country is experiencing a dire and complex humanitarian crisis, and half the population, or 2.6 million people, are in need of aid and protection. Yesterday, the government, the UN, and humanitarian partners launched the 2020 Humanitarian Response Plan, targeting 1.6 million people and requesting $401 million. The plan aims to address physical and mental well-being needs, living conditions, and protection of the most vulnerable, where civilians continue to bear the brunt of the crisis. In 2019, the UN and its humanitarian partners raised $300 million and helped more than 1.1 million people within the Humanitarian Response Plan framework. In Geneva today, the World Health Organization's Director General, Dr. Tedros, has convened an emergency committee to determine whether the coronavirus outbreak constitutes a public health emergency of international concern and what recommendations should be made to manage it. We expect that in about 1 hour, the committee's decision and recommendations will be shared on WHO's website and through a press conference that will be broadcast live on their Twitter account and Facebook page. And I'd like to read into the record an announcement that we issued last night concerning the Secretary General's appointment of Lieutenant General Daniel Siddiqui Traoré of Burkina Faso as the Force Commander of the UN Multidimensional Integrated Stabilization Mission in the Central African Republic, or MINUSCA. Lieutenant General Traoré succeeds Lieutenant General Bala Keita of Senegal, who will complete his assignment on February 29th. The Secretary General is grateful for his tireless dedication, invaluable service, and effective leadership. As the current military advisor to the Chief of General Defense Staff of Burkina Faso, Lieutenant General Traoré had a distinguished career since joining the Army of Burkina Faso in 1977. He also has extensive peacekeeping experience, and we have much more on this on our website. And finally, I am delighted to welcome 8 more members to the Honor Roll. The following countries have paid their regular budget dues in full. That's Bahrain, Cuba, Denmark, Finland, Latvia, Liechtenstein, Nepal, and Singapore. And I'll spare you the pain of guessing the number. That takes our total to 22. Thank you. And does anybody have any questions? Sorry, Margaret, 1 second. Thank you. Oh, thank you.
Margaret. Ari, Ms. Calamard and David Kay put out a statement calling for an investigation into Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman's potential hacking of Jeff Bezos, and also calling for restrictions or robust monitoring of the sale and marketing of surveillance equipment. Does the Secretary General have any reaction to their calls? And does he agree that there's a need for an investigation?
As you know, this is a report by 2 special rapporteurs. They produced that report in an unpaid independent capacity. So we have no comment on the report per se. We'll take a look at it, but as you may know, we saw it just about the same time you did. So we'll take a look at it. Yes.
About 20 minutes ago, Vice published what they claim is the report which prompted the UN experts to make these calls. I'm wondering if you've seen that yet, and the off chance that you might be able to confirm that that is the original report on which these experts' calls were made.
As you said, it was 20 minutes ago, so we haven't seen it yet, but thank you for letting us know. Nabil.
Thank you. We see that the SG uses very positive language regarding Lebanon and the formation of the new government. But in the same time, he did not use any or didn't call for any accountability on the violence that we have seen in the last weeks and especially last days in the country. Many people lost their eyes and heavily injured because of the violence. What do you have to say about that, and why didn't the SG call for accountability or investigations?
Regarding the violence, in past weeks, we've been issuing the same call, which is that we've been calling on security forces to protect peaceful protesters and refrain from using disproportionate force. We again, today, once again, call on all concerned to avoid violence and to respect and protect the right to peaceful assembly and expression.
So is this a call for investigations, accountability?
That's what I have for you today. Thanks. Edie.
Hi, Eric. Can we expect some kind of a statement from the Secretary General after WHO responds on this new coronavirus, given that China's already imposing some travel restrictions and that this virus has spread to a number of other countries, including the United States?
Well, as the first step, we'll wait and see what the executive committee decides. We should know the results of that soon. And then from our side, tomorrow, the Emergency Directors Group of the Interagency Standing Committee Secretariat, that's chaired by OCHA and also includes UNICEF, the World Food Program, WHO, and the Red Cross. They'll be meeting tomorrow to prepare for the possibility of the virus appearing in much weaker and fragile countries who will find it harder to cope. So let's see what comes out of that meeting. Is that it? All right. You guys were easy on me. Thank you very much. Have a good day.